Hurricanes, Nature's Wildest Storms by Aaron Ryan. You may already know that hurricanes are major tropical storms that can cause devastating waves, wind, and rain. They happen during hurricane season, which is from June 1st until November 30th in the Atlantic Ocean, and from May 15th until November 30th in the Pacific Ocean. A hurricane that forms in the Atlantic Ocean begins as tropical disturbance. This is a large area of windy thunderstorms that forms over the warm ocean near the equator. When the storms grow larger, rains and wind pick up, and the disturbance can develop into a full-fledged hurricane. Stages of a hurricane. Simple storms grow into giants. A storm progresses through 4 different stages before it is actually considered a hurricane. First is a tropical disturbance, which has thunderstorms and rotating winds, or what scientists call cyclonic circulation. Next is a tropical depression, which is similar to a tropical disturbance, but has winds between 23 and 39 miles per hour. A tropical storm is the next level, which has stronger wind speeds between 40 and 73 miles per hour. Once winds reach 74 miles per hour, the storm is officially classified as a hurricane. The winds pick up energy from the warm surface ocean water. Hurricanes rotate counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere and clockwise in the southern hemisphere. Hurricanes can vary in size and can grow to have a diameter of up to 600 miles, which is longer than the entire state of Florida. As a hurricane crosses over land, it begins to dissipate or break apart and reduce in strength. This is because it is no longer over the warm ocean water that it needs for energy. At this point, a hurricane can still cause a lot of damage because of high winds, rain, and flooding, but unless it makes its way back over the open ocean, it is downgraded from a hurricane back to a tropical storm. Hurricane dangers. When a hurricane makes landfall, it can be very dangerous along coastlines because of a storm surge, where ocean waters rush onto land. When this is combined with heavy rainfall, there can be devastating floods. The center of a hurricane is called the eye. While most of a hurricane contains dangerously strong winds, the eye is actually a calm area in the storm. When the eye of a hurricane passes over land, people might think that it's over, but before long the wind and rain increase again as the second part of the hurricane moves through. Furious hurricanes. Predicting hurricanes and protecting people. What's the difference between a hurricane watch and a hurricane warning? During a hurricane watch, there is the possibility that a hurricane will make landfall within 36 hours, and people are advised to prepare for a possible storm ahead. When a hurricane warning is issued, a hurricane is definitely on the way and will make landfall within 24 hours. The National Hurricane Center, located in Miami, Florida, issues watches and warnings before hurricanes approach the coastline. They use computers with satellite images to figure out where and when a hurricane will come on shore. Sometimes, if a hurricane is strong enough, officials may require citizens to evacuate or leave their homes and travel to a safer place. Can you imagine flying a plane through a hurricane? If you're a hurricane hunter, it's your job. Hurricane hunters who work for the Air Force Reserve fly airplanes called WC-130s on weather missions to help the National Hurricane Center make predictions about hurricanes and gives them the information needed to issue accurate warnings. Pilots determine how fast the winds are blowing, how big the hurricane is, and which direction it's moving. This helps people to be better prepared for hurricanes as they approach shore. Categories of hurricanes. There are 5 categories of hurricanes which are based on wind speeds. The categories help to make people aware of how much damage a hurricane may cause because the greater the wind speed, the more dangerous the storm. Category 1, winds 74 to 95 miles per hour. Winds snap branches, uproot trees, and overturn mobile homes that aren't secured to the ground. Category 2, winds 96 to 110 miles per hour. Winds are strong enough to destroy weak doors and windows and create 8-foot ocean waves. Category 3, winds 111 to 130 miles per hour. Intense winds cause major flooding near the coast, which can destroy homes and businesses. Category 4, winds 131 to 155 miles per hour. Winds are strong enough to destroy some buildings, causes heavy damages to building roofs. Category 5, winds greater than 155 miles per hour. Buildings along the shorelines are washed away. Buildings can be completely destroyed. Wild, wicked hurricanes. What's your name, hurricane? Hurricanes and tropical storms are given names to help people identify them. Scientists refer to hurricanes and storms by name as they track them across the ocean. Before 1953, hurricanes were not given official names. From 1953 through 1978, hurricanes were only given female names like Isabel, Camille, Claudette, and Wilma. Beginning in 1979, hurricanes were given the names of both women and men. Today the names alternate by gender and they are named alphabetically. For example, in 2010, storms were named as follows: Alex, Bonnie, Colin, Danielle, Earl, and so on. There are 6 different lists of names that change, so the same names are used every 6 years. The only way that a new name is added is when a hurricane has been particularly deadly or costly and the name is retired, then replaced with a new one. Hurricane Katrina, one of the deadliest storms in history. Hurricanes can leave behind lots of destruction. In 2005, Hurricane Katrina ripped through Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, and Texas. This was the 6th windiest hurricane on record, and it was one of the deadliest hurricanes in history. Many people are surprised to learn that Katrina's wind didn't cause most of the damage. The wind had caused levees in New Orleans to break. Levees are embankments that hold water away from cities. When the levees broke, water from the Gulf of Mexico rushed into the low-lying land. Over 80% of the city of New Orleans was buried in floodwater. Hurricane Katrina hurricane took 1,833 lives and caused over $76 billion in damage. Tornado versus hurricane. Which is stronger? Hurricanes can cover an area hundreds of miles wide, while tornadoes are almost always less than a mile wide. While they are smaller than hurricanes, tornado winds can be stronger and more powerful. Some tornadoes have winds of over 300 miles per hour, while hurricanes rarely exceed 200 miles per hour. Wild, wicked hurricanes. Hurricane safety tips. There's no way to stop a hurricane or make it change direction, so if you ever find yourself in the path of a hurricane, be sure to follow any emergency procedures that your community has in place. Here are some other hurricane safety tips. Be sure you have a battery-powered radio, batteries, fresh drinking water, and a supply of food. Also, if anyone in your family needs special medication, be sure you have a full supply. Tell neighbors, friends, and family members your emergency plans. Tell them where you'll go if you need to leave your home. If you live near the ocean, in low-lying area, or in a mobile home, leave your home and travel inland to a safe place. You can stay with a friend or family member in an inland hotel, motel, or in an emergency shelter area. Keep listening to the radio if a hurricane is approaching. If local authorities instruct you to evacuate, do it immediately. Before a hurricane arrives, be sure your family's car is filled with fuel. If the electricity goes out, the fuel pumps at gas stations will not work. Stay inside during the storm. You could be seriously injured if you go outside. But what about my pets? We should always take good care of our pets and keep them indoors during a storm. If you have to evacuate your home, remember that pets are not allowed in most emergency shelters and hotel rooms. If you leave a pet behind, be sure you set out plenty of food and water for them. Also be sure they're wearing a collar with your family's name and phone number on it.